In 333 AD, Murong Hui, the founder of the Yan regime, passed away. His eldest son and rightful heir, Murong Huang, who was 36 years old, succeeded him. Murong Huang was Sinicized from a young age, esteemed Confucian classics, and was skilled in astronomy. As an adult, he stood at 7 feet 8 inches, 180 centimeters, tall, and was majestic, resolute, and rich in strategy and cunning. However, he was ruthless and arrogant, and had a poor relationship with his brothers. Murong Han, the half-brother of Murong Huang, was wise and resourceful, bold and valiant, and often led troops in battle, achieving many military successes. He was highly valued and loved by their late father, Murong Hui. After Murong Hui's death, when his younger brother Murong Huang ascended the throne, Murong Han became the target of Murong Huang's suspicion. Consequently, he had no choice but to seek refuge with the Duan tribe of the Xianbei. Murong Ren and Murong Zhao, the full brothers of Murong Huang, were both cherished by their father, Murong Hui. This left Murong Huang feeling resentful. After the death of Murong Hui, Murong Huang learned that his two brothers were planning a rebellion. He first killed Murong Zhao and then sent someone to investigate Murong Ren, who was leading troops outside the capital. When Murong Ren saw the envoy, he guessed that their plans had been exposed. He decisively killed the envoy and retreated with his troops to Pinghua in Liaodong, where he prepared for battle. In January 336, during the cold winter when the Bohai Sea was frozen, the relentless Murong Huang led a large army on a daring 150-kilometer trek from Liaoxi across the ice, braving the biting cold winds, to launch a surprise attack on Pinghua in Liaodong. Murong Ren was caught off guard and launched a hasty defense, but he was captured and killed by Murong Huang. In 337, Murong Huang declared himself king of Yan, modeling his regime after the administrative systems of Cao Cao, the Wei Wuti, and Sima Zhao, the Jin Wendi, during their periods of regency. Establishing the Yan state had been a long-cherished aspiration of the Murong Xianbei. However, this new regime, which had migrated from the harsh lands of Liaodong to the west, encountered difficulties as it continued to expand its influence westward into the Central Plains region. The first obstacle was the Duan Xianbei, a small regime with strength comparable to that of the Yan state. Furthermore, if war broke out between the two countries, nearby small military forces would seize the opportunity to invade Yan and cause trouble. Therefore, the cunning Murong Huang devised a scheme to ally with Shi, the heavenly king of Zhao, to jointly invade and divide the Duan Xianbei. The leader of the Duan Xianbei, Duan Liao, had frequently harassed the Zhao state's borders. Yan King Murong Huang sent envoys to declare allegiance to Zhao and requested that their two countries jointly send troops to attack Duan Liao, with the promise of dividing his territory afterward. To show his sincerity, Murong Huang pretended to offer his brother, General Murong Han, as a hostage to later Zhao. Shi was greatly pleased and warmly received Murong Han, rewarding Murong Huang for his loyalty. However, he declined the offer of Murong Han as a hostage and sent him back to the Yan state. Shi and Murong Huang secretly agreed to meet the following year and jointly send troops to attack Duan Liao. In 338, Shi, following his agreement with Murong Huang, enthusiastically dispatched his troops to attack Duan Liao. By this time, Murong Huang had sent agents to Zhao to gather intelligence on the Zhao army's departure date. Once informed, he led his forces to raid many towns north of Lingji, the capital of Duan Liao. Ignoring Murong Han's advice, Duan Liao sent his brother, Duan Lan, with all available troops to pursue the retreating Yan army. However, they fell into Murong Huang's ambush and suffered a crushing defeat. Duan Liao, fearing to face Shi in battle, abandoned his capital, Lingji, and fled to Mount Miyun. Shi occupied Lingji but was surprised to find no trace of the Yan army. Upon further inquiry, he discovered that Murong Huang had taken advantage of the conflict between the two armies to seize a large number of people and livestock from the Duan Xianbei and return to the Yan state. Shi, being a tyrant, could not tolerate being deceived and mocked by Murong Huang in this manner. His anger reached its peak, and he completely lost his sanity. He ordered the Zhao army to immediately leave Lingji and continue marching north to attack Yan. The 200,000-strong Zhao army swept through like an autumn wind blowing away fallen leaves, and the Yan army could not resist. Along the way, 36 cities surrendered at the mere sight of him. The entire Yan state was reduced to its final stronghold, the capital city of Jiqing. At this point, the Yan army had no retreat left. Murong Huang and his sons, Murong Ke and Murong Chui, were all resolved to fight to the death. After more than 10 days of stalemate, the generals urged Murong Huang to surrender. Murong Huang replied, "I have just established the Yan state, how can I surrender?" Shi had never encountered such stubborn resistance before. The Zhao army, exhausted from the long march, was already at its limit. The campaign against Yan was not part of his original plan, and the preparations for provisions were inadequate. Murong Huang had already taken away all the provisions, livestock, and horses along the way when he withdrew from the Duanshan. With 200,000 Zhao soldiers facing the risk of starvation, Shi had no choice but to prepare for a retreat. Just as Shi ordered his troops to rest and regroup, the exhausted soldiers of Zhao enjoyed a good night's sleep and began packing their belongings to head home. The next morning, as dense fog enveloped the area, all the gates of Jiqing suddenly swung wide open, and the renowned Yan general Murong Ke led 2,000 elite cavalry charging out. In the thick fog, it appeared as if thousands of troops were rushing forth, leaving the Zhao soldiers bewildered and fleeing in panic. The Yan forces pursued them relentlessly, resulting in the capture or slaughter of over 30,000 enemy troops, achieving a resounding victory. Seizing the opportunity, Murong Huang swiftly commanded his army to reclaim all the lost territories and executed all the officials who had betrayed him and surrendered to Shi. Murong Huang employed the strategy of killing with a borrowed knife, deceiving and using Shi to destroy the Duanshan. As a result, all the population, livestock, and provisions of the Duanshan fell into the hands of the Yan state. Murong Huang gained a significant advantage, but Shi could not swallow this humiliation and planned to launch another war against Yan. While Shi was preparing for another war against Yan, Duan Liao, the leader of the Duanshan who had fled to Mount Miyun earlier, suddenly sent a message expressing his surrender to Shi. Although Shi was pleased, he couldn't help but become cautious, having just been deceived by Murong Huang. He dispatched Ma Qiu, the current general who conquers the east, along with 30,000 soldiers, to receive Duan Liao's surrender, instructing Ma Qiu, accepting surrender is as dangerous as facing an enemy, do not underestimate it. However, the situation took a turn when Duan Liao reneged on his surrender and sent envoys back to Yan, requesting to surrender once again. Zhao remained completely unaware of this development. As Ma Qiu's army marched towards Mount Miyun, they were ambushed by 7,000 elite cavalry under the command of Murong Ke. The ambush nearly annihilated the entire army, with Ma Qiu narrowly escaping on foot. Upon learning of Ma Qiu's defeat, Shi was greatly angered and stripped Ma Qiu of his rank and title, once again played by Murong Huang. Shi was consumed with rage, wishing he could devour him alive to quench his fury. Shortly thereafter, the ruthless Murong Huang had Duan Liao killed and sent his severed head to Shi. Regardless of Murong Huang's intentions behind this act, Shi would never trust him again. Shi planned to gather 500,000 soldiers to attack Yan. He meticulously prepared for this campaign, consolidating all the provisions and military supplies he had collected and stockpiling them in various locations. He designated the city of Luan as the base for the offensive and stationed a large number of troops there. Upon learning of Shi's deployment, Murong Huang sent troops to bypass the main forces of the Zhao garrison and attack from behind. They engaged in rampant destruction, burning, killing, and plundering, especially targeting the depots where provisions and military supplies were stored. Anything they couldn't take with them was set ablaze. With the collected provisions destroyed, Shi's plan to invade Yan could no longer proceed. As early as 337, Murong Huang had proclaimed himself king of Yan, but he had not yet received legitimate recognition and enfeoffment from the Eastern Jin court. Murong Huang was deeply resentful and felt compelled to actively petition the Eastern Jin court for recognition. He also accused the powerful minister Yu Bing of monopolizing power, leading to internal turmoil in the court, while loyal officials risking their lives to resist external enemies went unrecognized and unrewarded. He warned that if this indecision continued for too long, the court might regret it too late in the future. Murong Huang's Yan state was the only armed regime in the Central Plains region capable of resisting Shi Hu's Zhao state, and the Eastern Jin court could not afford to lose it. Under Murong Huang's active petitioning and coercion, the powerful minister Yu Bing had no choice but to submit a memorial to Emperor Jinqing of Eastern Jin, urging him to accede to Murong Huang's request. In July 342, 5 years after proclaiming himself king of Yan, Murong Huang finally received formal recognition from the Eastern Jin court. Murong Huang and his family's long-awaited wish had finally come true. The officials and people of Yan rejoiced, as nearly half of them were Han Chinese who upheld the traditions of Chinese culture. They regarded the Eastern Jin dynasty as the legitimate inheritor of Chinese culture. For a Xianbei regime that was not yet strong enough to stand independently, gaining recognition from the Eastern Jin dynasty was a source of encouragement and pride for the people. Murong Huang's father, Murong Hui, was the founder of the Yan regime. Murong Hui dared to innovate by abandoning the primitive and backward cultural customs of the Xianbei people. Instead, he embraced the more than 2,000-year-old Chinese culture, actively integrating into the civilized society of the Han Chinese, and uniting people of various ethnicities under his regime. He particularly absorbed a large number of Han Chinese into the administrative ranks and actively promoted Confucian moral and cultural education. This laid the foundation for the later prosperity of the Yan state, making it the strongest country in the Central Plains, while the Xianbei people themselves became an outstanding ethnic group with a wealth of talent. Murong Huang, guided by his father Murong Hui from a young age, received Confucian education. He deeply understood the importance of cultural education in enabling ethnic groups to overcome ignorance and backwardness, and in strengthening the Yan state's power amidst the chaos of wars among various ethnic groups. In October of the year 342 AD, Murong Huang relocated the capital from Jiqing to Longqing. He established a royal academy called Dongxiang, capable of accommodating over 1,000 students, where children from imperial families and prestigious households could study. These students were known as Highgate scholars. Murong Huang personally wrote textbooks, taught classes, and administered examinations. Outstanding talents selected through these examinations served as his close attendants. By gradually replacing the old system of appointing officials based on social status with a merit-based examination system, Murong Huang laid the foundation for the rudimentary form of the imperial examination system in ancient China. In September of the year 348, while hunting on the western border, Murong Huang suffered a severe fall from his horse and passed away shortly after. He was 52 years old and had ruled for 15 years. Murong Huang was exceptionally intelligent and possessed great political acumen, making him a genius statesman in turbulent times. As the founding monarch of the Yan dynasty, he made significant contributions to the cultural advancement of the Xianbei people. However, Murong Huang's ruthless pursuit of self-interest and his actions contradicted the benevolent standards of Confucianism, earning him unfavorable reviews in Chinese history.